Welcome to another edition of Web Chats. I'm Sabrina Storm, joined in studio today by Woodstock Mayor Trevor Birtch. And thanks so much for taking some time out of your schedule today. We've got a controversial issue to talk about, the graphic images ban proposal by Kate Leatherborough, member of the community. She's very passionate about this one, and she's recently wrote a letter that's going to be heard. So let's talk about that.
So we have a correspondence for a question to go on the municipal election ballot, and there's certain timing issues over when those items need to be brought forward, so we're under some time constraints. And when we look at whether or not we can add a question to the ballot, we need to look at whether or not it's within the sphere of influence of the city through the Municipal Act. And so we'll be having discussions on that tonight at Council. We have in previous council decision, asked the clerk to continue to monitor other developing situations, such as Toronto, and we have now heard back from the City of Toronto that their committee is looking into things they expect to report either in the fall of 2018 or maybe 2019. So nothing changed on that front. Now, we did have a response from the Prime Minister's office, and our correspondence regarding these graphic images in public spaces has been referred to the Minister of Justice, the Attorney General for Canada, so we'll see how that goes as well.
It's really a matter of jurisdiction, is it not? And I think there's been some sort of misunderstandings in the community thinking that this falls into the city's jurisdiction, and that's probably not the case.
That's right. There's some examples that have been given of other municipalities that have enacted certain bylaws, and when we look into those examples, those bylaws are actually the same as what the city currently has, which would prohibit people from using graphic images and other things like that on any of our city facilities or on the buses or at the arena. But when you're talking about street corners, that's a federal jurisdiction for freedom of expression.
This is probably not going to be the last we talk about that.
Probably not.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about revitalizing Museum Square. And you're looking to the public for input, which is something that the city really does a lot.
Yeah, this is very exciting. The Museum Square that people have been using a lot more in the last few years for public events. It's in its current format for about the last 100 years. And we're looking at some of the other examples in other communities where there's been more activities encouraged in that public area. So there's a design concept coming forward as part of a presentation, and then also a staff report asking that we speak to the public over the next 3 or 4 months and get ideas and feedback. So it'll be exciting as we discuss what the future will look like for our public space downtown.
Can you give us an example of what some of those ideas may be?
Something as simple as a permanent stage being placed there so that theater and acts or any musical things that go on with our street festivities and other events will have a permanent home rather than bringing in a temporary stage.
Okay. And I understand that the land where the outdoor farm show typically takes place is looking to have some rezoning for a new event.
That's right. So we will be hearing about the application for the outdoor farm show site to host the Zorra Highland Games over the next 3 years on July 1st. So that would be a wonderful addition. It just shows neighbors working together to find good solutions and continue to make those special memories for families and grandchildren.
Just before we wrap up, I know you're always talking budgets. That will be on the agenda tonight, I'm sure.
That's right. We'll be having our budget overview from the CAO as well as the treasurer, and that's looking at the revenue fund budget and where we're starting off from a base standpoint. And over the coming weeks, we'll have special meetings that are also open to the public where we'll go department by department looking at any new asks and what service levels council would like to see for the year going forward.
Sounds good. Our time's up. Thanks so much again to Mayor Trevor Birtch for joining me in studio. I'm Sabrina Storm. Join us next time for another edition of Web Chats.